8, 7, 6, 5. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Are you ready? The Chicago way.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of your favorite Monday night podcast. What's up, cuz? I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my not here right now cousin, Lancey Irvin, who is currently out taking care of some family business. He should be checking in approximately I'd say 40 minutes. That's what he told me. 40 minutes. Lancey Irvin will be checking in. In the meantime, you will have me, Jason Palmer, the host of our show tonight. And we have a wonderful show planned for you. Lance and I have a number of topics that we will be going through in the world of sports and in the world of life. We will also be discussing the latest social incident which has happened, which is all over Black Twitter, all over Black Facebook, all over the country right now. Yes, the rumble on the riverboat in Alabama is what we will also be talking about because, hell, everybody else is talking about it, so we might as well talk about that as well. There was some boxing, there was some mixed martial arts involved, there was some World Wrestling Federation involved as there was chairs being thrown, and in honor of the Royal Rumble that took place in Alabama, I have a new background today for our new Black American flag. We have replaced the fist. We are replacing the power fist with a folding chair. So that is what the new Black American flag will be looking like going forward here after the historic date on August the 5th, 2023, when brothers was swimming and helped another brother in trouble, and there was a woman giving commentary. It was just an American social event in 2023. What can I tell you? So we will be discussing the events that happened in Alabama. And there's a lot of fighting that has taken place over the past week. We had Tim Anderson and his craziness. He involved in fights as well out in Cleveland. He got out just like Debo and Friday. So we will be discussing the Tim Anderson situation. We will talk about the Chicago Cubs, the surging Chicago Cubs. You know it's going to hurt my feelings to have to talk about what the Chicago Cubs are doing. But hey, we are a Chicago show, and we need to talk about what the Cubs are doing. We were not expecting this, so to speak, but as I speak, the Chicago Cubs are going to be playing the New York Mets, and the Cubs are only a game and a half out of first place in their division. So we will definitely be talking about the Chicago Cubs as well. So lots of stuff going on. Yes, Vernon. Yes. The chairman, Jason Palmer, in the house. I am not the chairman. I am not Fred Hampton, Vernon. I am not Fred Hampton. However, what can I say? It was a very interesting situation. What's up, Vernon? Thanks for tuning in. Lots to discuss. Brandon, how you doing? Yes, lots to discuss about your Astros too. And Angel Hernandez trying to prevent the Astros from winning yesterday in New York, the worst baseball umpire, I won't say in history, but currently of the modern era is definitely Angel Hernandez. We will talk about his shenanigans that took place. Lots of baseball talk. We will talk about the Chicago White Sox and what has been going on with them, and the news that came out earlier today about the Chicago White Sox. So we will discuss the Chicago White Sox. We will discuss the Chicago Cubs. We will discuss the Tim Anderson situation. Later on the show, we're also going to discuss the big news in the NCAA this week with all the conference realignments. You probably gonna need a scorecard to see who all is going where, who's potentially going where. Um, it is a mess. That is a mess right now in the world of college sports. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about the Chicago Sky and just what is going on in the WNBA. The WNBA has got a lot of news. Not all of it is good news. I call it growing pains news as the WNBA continues to try to get their foothold in the marketplace throughout the landscape of American sports. So we're going to talk a lot about what the WNBA is doing right, some of the things they are doing wrong. So lots and lots and lots of topics. And of course, we're going to talk preseason NFL. We got to talk preseason NFL. You got the games that were played at the Hall of Fame game. We'll talk about the national anthem that was sung at the Hall of Fame game. Not probably not the best choices of singers, but hey, it is what it is. So we'll talk about that incident that happened. Lot to talk about here. So thank you all for joining me as it is right now. Um, on the What's Up Cuz podcast. So a couple of things we want to get to just kind of right off the bat here. Um, if you're tuning in for your first time, we do appreciate you tuning in to What's Up Cuz. We know you're checking us out on the Facebook live feed that we have at Sports Zone Chicago. We know you're checking us out on the Sports Zone Chicago YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. We appreciate you definitely for tuning in on our YouTube channel. You can go ahead and like and subscribe to that channel. And it will give you access to all of the wonderful shows that we have here on Sports Zone Chicago. So we definitely want you to tune in to that and definitely like and subscribe that page. If you are checking us out on our Roku channel, we have a Sports Zone Chicago Roku channel. We appreciate you tuning in there as well. If you do not have it, go ahead and download it. Just go ahead and download the Sports Zone Chicago Roku. That way you can keep up with us anywhere you are in the world. Go ahead and download that. Put it right next to Netflix. Put it right next to your YouTube. All those other things that you people have on your Roku things at home. Go ahead and put our channel up near the top. That way you won't never miss any of our live shows. And you can also go back and if you happen to miss a show, you can always go back there and check out one of the rebroadcasts. And you can go back as far as since the shows were created, to be honest. If you want to our show in the past. So please go ahead and download the Roku channel. And we also have the Sports Zone Chicago app, where you can also listen to us on the go and catch all of our live shows and past shows via the podcast. And if you do not have the Sports Zone Chicago app, you can get it from Amazon store, you can get it from the Google Play Store. Just go ahead and download that app and take us with you on the go. So wherever you are tuning in, we would appreciate it. Also, get involved, get involved. What's up, Sudie Davis? I got some news for you. Stay tuned. Um, get involved with today's show, especially for the first 45 minutes, since I'm going to be alone, okay? Because Lance Irvin is tied up with something. And then I make a couple announcements here. Couple announcements that I need to make. We have lost a couple of people, and I need to announce that. First off, usually our producer, Sean Sierra, the Superback, he is usually here with us on Monday nights. But Sean had a death in his family about a week ago, so he's not able to be here tonight as he is attending the services for his aunt. and his godmother, who passed away a few days ago. Her services are tonight. So Sean is with his mother. You know, he's very, very close with his mother. He is currently out with his mother at the services for his godmother. So Lance and I send our deepest condolences to Sean and his family during this time of mourning, and we will give them all of the support that they need as they are putting his godmother to rest. Sean was very close with her. She had moved in with Sean and his mother um, recently, and so he got to spend even more time with her in her final days. And so, you know, you all pray for our brother, Sean Sierra, as he is not with us tonight, as he is with his family where he absolutely needs to be. Also, some more solemn news I have to announce, and Sudi, I am glad that you are here as well for this announcement. I got word late last night that a person who I kind of started with journalism with together back when we were both at Chicago State Universities in the late 90s. And this guy kind of got me involved in the media. He really helped me out a lot. He really helped me out. He always supported any of my endeavors. When I started this podcast, he was one of the first people to tune in and give me some support. When I started my news website 2 years ago, he once again jumped in, gave me a lot of support, gave me a lot of pointers. And I was always more on the writing side of journalism. So in newspapers, I didn't really do radio. So when I created this podcast, it was kind of like, oh, this could be interesting because it's kind of like radio, but you know, a little bit different. And I told him what I was going to do, and he gave me a bunch of ideas, a bunch of support, things that we still incorporate into the What's Up Cuz podcast today. My good buddy, man, my good buddy, Washington, of the Vince Brown morning show, passed away over the weekend. Alvin Washington, also known as Vince Brown, also known as Vinny Fresh Mix back in his days as a DJ at KKC. Those of you in Chicago, we know about KKC, that radio station. Vinny was one of the first people that you would hear on WKKC and his Vinny's Fresh Mix. Vinny also was a professional public address announcer. He was a public address announcer for many small colleges here in the Chicago area. Also worked at Chicago State, announced some of their games. He announced games at Trey College. He did some stuff at Purdue University Northwest. He also was a man who did a lot of stuff for the Chicago Public League and the Chicago Public Schools, not just announcing the games, but also getting people involved into the media, young people involved. And once they got involved, you know, Vinny would really kind of give them a lot of pointers and talk to them and tell them the industry all about, just the way he did with me. And so I was pretty much dumbfounded when I found out this news late last night. Alvin had just lost his father in late May. So within 2 months of losing his father, Vinny has also made his transition. And I am definitely numb with this news that I found out. And so are all my friends at Chicago State. Coach Davis, he knows Alvin well, you know, from coaching over there, being the AD over there. And Vinny was a unique guy, man, unique personality. And what I will say about Vinny is that he was always pleasant, man, no matter what. Even if, you know, he made a mistake, or if I made a mistake, or, you know, he always had the best intentions. Even if things didn't turn out the way you want him to, he always had the best intentions. Just a really genuinely really good guy. And he has passed away. So my thoughts and prayers go out to Alvin's family and his friends, and I will let people know about his services once the arrangements are made. We will post them on the What's Up Cuz Twitter page, because he was such an important person to our show and really giving us a lot of feedback. Also, he invited me as a guest on his show this past April. So I was on his show a few months ago promoting What's Up Cuz, promoting Sports Zone Chicago, because he really believed in what we were doing here at Sports Zone Chicago. Like this was something that he believed in, into his core. And he liked all the different shows. And like I say, he would always give us feedback. So I'm going to miss you, Alvin. I'm going to miss you, brother. And you have a good journey there on to the other side. So some solemn news here from the What's Up Cuz family. And once again, our condolences to our producer, Sean Sierra, and Alvin Washington. So another announcement I want to make is that next Monday's show, we will have it's a family show, let's say. We will have our guy, Ken Davis. Ken Davis, he will be here uh, with his show that he does on NBC Sports Chicago, where he's pubbing the Chicago Bears and talking about everything Chicago Bears. As you know, this season is getting ready to kick off. Ken is going to be joining us next week, and he's going to discuss all things Bears with us. I'm sure there'll be a lot to discuss after the first preseason game, and people will be either saying the Bears are going to the Super Bowl or they suck because that's just what we do in Chicago. But Ken will be here. Also coming on next week's show is one of the co-owners of Sports Zone Chicago, our former producer here. What's up, cuz? Our first producer, Maya Akai. Maya's going to join us next week as well to break down everything that's gone on over the summer in Chicago sports. You know, she's a big Chicago White Sox fan, just like I am. And she is very, very, very disappointed with this team, as we all are. So Maya is going to she's going to join us next week for the show. So not sure how long she's going to join us, but she says she's definitely going to join us for a significant of the show. So it's gonna be a Sports Zone reunion, so to speak. That's probably the best way to describe it. A Sports Zone Chicago reunion. Looking forward to having Maya on the show. Looking forward to having our guy Ken Davis, his family, he's coming on to the show. So it's going to be a really good show next Monday. So make sure that you are tuning in for that one as well. So let's get started with tonight. And you all going to me out. You see, I'm here by myself for the first 40 minutes or so. So this is going to be a very interactive show, let's say. So I know you all are going to have comments and questions and all that good stuff. Go ahead and send them to me, and I'm going to get to just about all of them today because I don't want to just be talking by myself. So you go ahead and hit me up and topics that are going on. So we are going to start with the Chicago White Sox and the news that came out earlier today, courtesy of Jess Faison of ESPN. Former Chicago White Sox pitcher Kenya Middleton had some comments about his experience with the Chicago White Sox. Middleton has since been traded to the New York Yankees. To say he is happy about the trade would be putting it lightly. Middleton basically called out, how do I say it? The entire White Sox organization. That's probably the best way to phrase it. Middleton called out this entire organization. Said basically they have no discipline. There is no leadership coming from the top. That there is no accountability coming from anyone who's supposed to be in charge. And as a result, you are seeing the players do whatever they want to do. He said that there was a rookie pitcher who was sleeping in the bullpen during games this year. He said there were people missing meetings, not attending meetings that they should have been attending, that there were people not attending practice sessions. Pitchers have fielding practice. He said there were people who were not attending fielding practice and that they were not being held accountable for it at all, that they were just like, well, you know, I missed the meeting. And by saying that people were not being held accountable for that, I don't know if he means that people were not being fined for it or whatever the disciplinary measures is that the White Sox allegedly have in place. What's up, Armando? But Middleton said it's not happening and that it is not happening throughout the organization. He blamed everyone but ownership. But let's be honest, y'all. everything always starts at the top. It starts at the top and then it goes down from there. It's no different if you're talking about a university that is dysfunctional. It starts with the president of that university, goes down through the athletic department, goes down through the deans, goes down through the professors, and eventually affects the students. Um, it this happens so often in business, but this is absolutely ridiculous. Some of the things that he said, they corroborated what he said in the report that aired on ESPN. And as a White Sox fan, I'm just even more offended by this team. I have not attended a game this year. I, I am going to a game on Wednesday. I'm only going because it is a really close personal friend's birthday, and she's going to be there with her children and her family, and she invited me. She wanted me to come out, help her celebrate. She's a big time Yankees fan. She's originally from New York. We constantly are going back and forth, but this year neither one of us can say nothing. Both of our teams are terrible, but the dysfunction that is going on in the White Sox organization, it is like something out of a movie to just hear. Armando says the White Sox organization is the SS Titanic. Yeah, right now currently is, and the captain of that ship is Jerry Reinsdorf. The captain of that ship is Jerry Reinsdorf. His first lieutenants are Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams. And I personally don't see how this situation is going to really change. I really don't, until Jerry Reinsdorf either sells the team, which is a possibility, or until he passes away. And I'm not saying that to wish death on the man. I'm just speaking truth. We said the same thing with the Blackhawks. When Bill Wirtz died, that was when things changed. When Rocky took over, things changed for the Blackhawks organization, and we saw what happened when those changes took place. Then Rocky lost his compass, and now Rocky has passed away. So we will see what happens with the Blackhawks organization now going forward. But leadership matters, y'all. It really does matter. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a president of the United States or owner of a sports team. Leadership matters, and when you have bad leadership in place, oh my God, we can speak to it. Sudi Davis can speak to it. I mean, there's so many of us who can speak to that. And it's not fun right now being a White Sox fan. It is embarrassing. It is humiliating. What we are seeing on the field is just a byproduct of the dysfunction that is happening in that organization. I wrote my article back in April, maybe 3 weeks into the season, saying that this team wasn't going to go anywhere. People told me, no, it's too early. You can't say that. You got to give Pedro a chance to instill his culture. Ain't none of that happening, man. We were sold a bag of goods that wasn't worth 2 cents. And you are what your record says you are. They are like, what, 20 games under 500, something ridiculous like that? It is embarrassing. I am thoroughly embarrassed to be a Chicago White Sox fan, which is why I have not attended any games. I have not bought any new White Sox paraphernalia. And I'm just happy that now players are speaking out about it, because this is what we needed to happen. We needed to have some names out there. And while he didn't name players in particular, we could kind of read between the lines and guess a lot of people who he was talking about. One person who I've been highly critical of, and a lot of you have been critical of, is Yohan Moncada. And does he really want to be there? It doesn't look like he wants to be there. I think that's pretty obvious. Tim Anderson, he doesn't want to be there. Tim is dealing with whatever he's dealing with, but Tim don't want to be there. You can see it in his face. He doesn't want to be there. I question Grandal. I question Eloy's commitment to his fitness, to being ready to be that player. He always injured. He always injured. This didn't just start, this year. He's always been injured throughout his entire career. So I question his commitment to his own personal physical fitness. And, and what I will say is that I've always thought what Rick Hahn did, where he made his biggest mistake, with this team wasn't that he didn't get talented people, because they're all very talented baseball players. I think his biggest mistake was signing these players very early in their career to these quote unquote team friendly contracts when they hadn't done a damn thing. Professional athletes are motivated by money. Now, the great ones are motivated by championships. The great ones are motivated by hating to lose. But most professional athletes, most, they are motivated by the almighty dollar. And what he did was he gave them all this money up front. And he's not getting the returns. The fans are not getting their returns on this. These guys have cashed it in. The money is guaranteed. That's one thing about football. You can't really do that and get away with it unless you get an incredible signing bonus. You got to play to stay on the team and keep the money coming in. Baseball, you don't have to do that. Once you sign the contract and they sign it, it's done. And I think that is the biggest mistake Rick Hahn made with this team. It has been atrocious. It has been embarrassing to watch what the White Sox have become this year. And like I say, the only way you fix it is with change from the top. So Sudi Davis says strength and leadership does run downhill to performance and championships. I couldn't agree more, Coach Sudi. I couldn't agree, Coach, more. I couldn't agree more, Coach. It is just atrocious what is happening over there on 35th Street. And White Sox fans deserve better than this. The city of Chicago deserves better than this. The Chicago media deserves better than this, because what this organization has done is try to make it seem like we in the media are treating them unfairly when they're not. And there need to be people fired. You know, I was all for making the trades that they needed to make, because you need to blow this team apart. I really don't want any of them. And that includes Luis Robert. Because, yeah, he got great stats personally, but I don't see Luis out there really digging into people mad because they ain't winning games. They all seem comfortable losing. And I don't roll like that, man. Give me a bunch of people who are less talented, who will fight and die for each other trying to win a game, than a talented person any day of the week. I'll take that any day of the week, because I can go to a battle with them. I can't go to battle with these fools because they ready to go home as soon as the game is being pitched. And you can see it in their play, man. They ain't trying to win. So that culture needs to change. Now, maybe you can save a few players like Andrew Vaughn and some of these guys who haven't really been affected. They're just trying to make it through there. But they got to do a lot of changes in the White Sox organization, man. A lot of changes. And it needs to happen immediately, because it is embarrassing to see what is happening. They are tonight. They will be taking on the New York Yankees, the first in a series here in Chicago, a 3-game series. Like I say, I'm going to the game Wednesday, but it's only because I'm there to support a friend. But just absolutely atrocious. And yes, I agree with you, Armando. The Field of Dreams game feels like forever. It was. And it was just a couple of years ago, around this time, we were celebrating Tim Anderson for his game-winning home run against the Yankees in that game in Iowa. The White Sox were the darlings of Major League Baseball. Let me say that again. They were the darlings of Major League Baseball. Everybody was like, oh my God, this team is fun. They're exciting. They play hard. They play for each other. And you can say what you want about, well, when they fired Rick Renteria, the guys cashed out. Look, I've had a whole bunch of supervisors and bosses that left. Either they got fired, they left for other opportunities, or they retired. I didn't stop doing my damn job because they changed my supervisor. That don't make no sense. And, you know, for when they say this about these guys, I think that just tells you a lot about the culture. I think that tells you a lot about the players that the White Sox currently have on this roster. And again, it is embarrassing. I can't think of enough adjectives to describe my frustrations with this team and this organization. But I do thank the brother Middleton for speaking his truth. And I think since he has done that, you're going to now see more people talking. It usually only takes one. Trust me, as a reporter, I know this. It usually only takes one person to really start talking. Now, if they give someone with a real big name, someone like Lance Hand, who's already got a whole lot of credibility, let him start making some comments and naming names. I don't think he's going to do it right now because he don't want to be a distraction with the Dodgers, and he probably feels like, what happened with the White Sox happened with the White Sox. I'm done with it. But yeah, this is really bad. This is really bad what's going on with our Chicago White Sox. So, all right, we are coming up on our first commercial break for the show. We're going to get back to your comments. We're going to get back to your questions. Lance should be here in about 20 minutes or so, but we are going to just keep rolling through topics. And when I come back, we are going to talk about what is going on the north side of Chicago with the Chicago Cubs. Oh my God, who would ever thunk it? What a turnaround for this season, and I know their fans are very happy. So thank you for tuning in to What's Up, Cubs. We're going to take a couple of commercial breaks here, and then we will be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left, and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down, because the #1 rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Sean Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms. On Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel, you can find us at Sports Zone Chicago. And on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
I faced one of the toughest challenges of my life right here. I couldn't swim. But I can still hear my drill instructor today.
Don't quit. If you quit now, you'll always quit in life. Go for it.
So I jumped in, unsure, apprehensive, and scared out of my mind. But I came up a Marine.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, on this Monday, August the 7th, 2023, as we discuss everything that's going on in the world of sports. Let's talk about the Chicago Cubs, the Northsiders. The Cubs are currently in a game against the New York Mets. Right now, they are trailing, it looks like 3-0 to the Mets early in this game. But the Cubs, boy, what a turnaround for them this season. And it's funny because our guy Scoop Jackson had wrote an article in the Sun Times when he first got there in early July, and he was saying that Chicago baseball fans deserve better because at that time, both the Cubs and the White Sox were, just struggling, and looks like we're gonna have another meaningless August of baseball on the south side and on the north side. And then the Cubs was like, not so fast, not so fast. A lot of credit has to be given to David Ross, the manager of the Cubs, and what he has been able to do with this young team. He has got them to buy in. And what I will say is that what I think the Cubs have done very well is they've gotten a nice mixture of young players to go along with the veterans. And because they've gotten that mixture, they've been able to get people to buy in to what they are selling and what they are trying to build. And by doing that, they are building team chemistry. And I think that is really helping them out a lot. Yes, they did lose the 2 out of 3 games to the Atlanta Braves, but it's the Atlanta Braves. They're the best team in the league. We're not saying that the Cubs are the best team in the league, but they certainly have drastically improved. They certainly are made a name for themselves, and they're definitely a threat to win this division that they're in. They took the games they needed to take from the Cincinnati Reds, have knocked them down a peg. Cincinnati is really struggling now. Milwaukee has now got the lead, and come August and September, you just want to be within striking distance. You just want to be in striking distance. You also want to be able to, rest your bullpen. I think if there's anything that's going to eventually catch up with the Cubs, it's that their bullpen is really being stressed out. They're really having to use a lot of arms in these games. And, there's only so much that those arms can take. Eventually, they're going to have to get a little bit better performance from their starting pitchers. That offense has been kind of up and down. They're going to need a little bit more consistency in their offense. But I think right now, they're doing pretty doggone good. They're doing pretty doggone good. They're out there battling, and that's all you can ask for, man. And that your team goes out there and that they battle. And the Cubs are doing that. They're out there battling for each other. They're battling for their fans. And that's what you want to see. You don't see any moping around. We're not hearing of any um, disharmony in the locker room. We're not hearing any discipline issues. They're just a team just like, you know what? We're probably not supposed to be here, so there's no pressure on us. Let's just play. And you see that when they play, they're playing like they have no pressure on them. Like they're like, we're just gonna win, and whatever happens, happens. Because no one thought we would be here, and to be honest, they probably didn't think themselves that they would be in the position that they in. But here they are, right there battling like everybody else. So I'm really happy for the Chicago Cubs fans. I have a lot of friends and family members who are Cubs fans. They giving me the business, and I'm clearly accepting it because I deserve it, and I'm going to give them praise for what their team has been able to do. We will see how long they can maintain it. But for right now, the Cubs are the positive story in this summer. The fact that they were able to turn their season around and keep themselves within striking distance of the playoffs, and winning the division. Oh my goodness. And if I look at the standings, they're closer to winning the division than they are to the wild card. So I think for path to the playoffs will definitely be winning that division. And the Cardinals are out of it. They're not going anywhere. Cincinnati is come back to earth a little bit. But I think this division in particular is going to come down between the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Reds. And I think it will eventually come down to pitching. Whoever's got the best pitching in September is going to win this division. And that's starting pitching, and that's the arms coming out the bullpen. Because offense is going to slumps. We see that all the time. All the time, this is in slump. This is what's going on right now with Cincinnati Reds. And there are teams that they're going to have a losing streak every now and then. So it's you just don't want to get in a pattern where you're losing more than 2 games in a row. Like Sean Sierra always says, just win the series, baby. Win series. So that's what the Cubs need to do if they're going to keep up the pace that they've been on. They've been on just a torrid pace of winning games, but they need to eliminate losing streaks. They need to just keep moving forward. Just keep being consistent. Keep learning the game. Keep pulling for each other. Keep playing for one another. And they could shock people. They could really shock people. The Chicago Cubs could really, really shock people. So just very interesting to see what they have going on up there on the north side. At least it's something to watch because there's nothing to watch on the south side. So a lot of White Sox fans, we are tuning in to Cubs fans games, even if we're pulling for them to lose. We are tuning into the Marquee Network. And, they are playing some good baseball, and the teams they're playing are pretty good too. And right now the Cubs are going into a tough part of their schedule, so we will see what they can do. All right, changing gears a little bit, we will talk a little bit about our Chicago Sky. The Chicago Sky are returning back to Chicago. They have a game tomorrow against, I believe, the Minnesota Lynx here in Chicago. The Sky just come off of this weekend, taking 2 out of 2 down in Dallas. They are currently holding on to the final playoff spot in the WNBA, but they're only like a game out of moving up 3 positions. There's kind of like a log jam. They're battling for those last few spots for the WNBA playoffs. We know the Sky lost their coach, James Wade, earlier this season as he took an opportunity to fulfill his lifelong dream of coaching in the NBA. He is now an assistant coach with the Toronto Raptors. So the Sky have had a coaching change in the middle of the season, which is something hard to deal with. They've had injuries. They had a couple players who were out on pregnancy leave. So they're just now starting to kind of come back and gel together as a team. But just really important for the Sky to continue to gel. I think that's been their biggest problem this season. They just need time to play together more than anything else. They need the time to play to each other, learn the new coach's system to really get in sync with one another. I mean, they had a lot of turnover, man. When you're losing Candace Parker, when you're losing Quigley, when you're losing Vandersloot, that's a lot of experience that you're losing. And I think it has taken this team a minute to from up, get their feet under them. And we're starting to see them play a little better now, and they're getting healthy now. So we will see just how much of a run the Sky can go on here. Hopefully, they can do just like the Cubs and have a really strong final push here going into these final weeks of the season. Hold on to that playoff spot, and we say it all the time. All you gotta do is get in, because once you get in, anything can happen. Anything can happen once you get in the playoffs, but you got to get in the playoffs. So we'll see kind of what they are going to do. Also, I can let you all know we are efforting to get some of the players from the Sky. We're trying to get Isabel Harrison. Have been talking to Sky, and it's just a matter of matching up the schedules with the player that we can get them on the show. We want to give you all some more content. Next week, we will be back with guests. As I said earlier, we will have Maya Kai here. We will have Ken Davis here. We will be talking a lot of Chicago Bears. We'll talk a lot of White Sox. We will get back to more of our regular format. We'll bring guests, and then we're also talking it up and doing different stuff like what Lance knows and all that type of good stuff. But our Chicago Sky, we are watching you, we are supporting you, and we are wishing you the best as you have this late season run. And nothing like playoffs, man, in any sport. Would love to see it here in Chicago. Always pull for the Chicago teams, and I really want to see the Sky in the playoffs. So we will see how that goes. All right, moving right along to my next topic for tonight. My girl, Coco Gauff. My girl, Coco Gauff, one of the up-and-coming tennis stars, one of the up-and-coming American tennis stars, who's also a Black American. Coco, this past weekend, won the D.C. Open out in Washington, D.C. It is, I believe, her fourth or fifth win on the tour. A lot of high hopes for Coco. Still a young tennis player, but getting better with every season. And good for her to get this win. You go on, Coco. We need somebody, because I'm not the only one who thinks tennis is now more boring without Serena. It's not that they don't have other players on the tour. It's just that, Serena was Serena. Serena was the GOAT for a reason. And not having Serena has really, it's just taken something away. When you're tuning in and you don't see Serena there, and you're not hearing her grunting, every time she hit the ball. She's a personality. Sports, it's not just about the skills of the athletes, but it's also about the personality of the athletes as well. Whether it's a personality that fans love or a personality that fans hate, you gotta have those personalities. They help sell your sport. And Serena was a big personality out there on the tour. I know the WTA misses her in her retirement. But I'm very happy to see Coco. And there are a lot of other young African Americans who are coming up through the ranks. We talked a couple weeks ago about our girl Taylor Townsend, who's also a Chicago native. She's doing very well on the doubles scene. She and her partner are doing very well on the doubles scene, as a matter of fact. And there are some players in the junior ranks also coming through that we need to start keeping our eye on. But just really good to see Coco out there and getting a win. The next topic. Yes, I'm going to talk about it. So Lisa Carroll is usually chiming in, but today all of a sudden she has disappeared and is nowhere around on the podcast. But we're going to talk one of her favorite sports, soccer. The U.S. women's soccer team has been eliminated from the World Cup after losing to Sweden yesterday in penalty kicks. The final was 5-4 in the penalty kick phase. Um, the game ended in a 0-0 tie again. It was the second time in the tournament in back-to-back games. They were in 0-0. But this time they were playing in the knockout round. So in the preliminary rounds, you can end the match in a tie. But once you get to the knockout rounds, somebody got to win. So you can do 0-0. They play the extra session or whatever, and then they go to penalty kicks. And the Swedish team got one more goal in the penalty kick phase than the United States did, and boom, USA is going home. So tough break for the ladies. But we had heard that there were challenges with this team. I started noticing it when I was checking out the highlights, and I was like, we're not scoring. Like usually the United States go out there and they are like kicking people's behinds. Like it's not even close. So I'm like, has the rest of the world finally caught up to us? And that could be what is happening, just like the rest of the world has caught up to us in men's basketball. It's no longer a guaranteed thing that the men's basketball team is going to win the gold. They'll be favored, but there's no guarantee that we just going to roll through there next year in France and get a gold medal in men's basketball. Them days are over. The rest of the world has caught up to us in that. So I'm wondering if perhaps that is what is happening with women's soccer. The United States women have been so dominant for so many years. They won so many titles and championships. And, we should give the ladies credit for what they have been able to do. Because it's not easy to go out there and win them championships like they have. And I don't think this team has gotten a lot of credit that they really deserve. Some people are bashing this team just because the ladies are speaking up on social issues, just because they are speaking up asking for better pay, just because they are speaking up asking for better work environment conditions. I mean, this is America. They should do that. They should do that. And they're out there representing our country, and to hear some of the stuff that this women's soccer team had to deal with was just ridiculous. So I am glad to see that we are addressing those issues, but we also now got some work to do on the field, because America ain't gonna take getting eliminated by Sweden in the first round of the playoffs. That ain't how we roll. So they will regroup. They have some young players, but they also are losing a lot of veterans. But I thought, if you really want to hear some good commentary on this team, listen to Kari Lloyd. She was a member of the previous team. She did not play this year, now retired. Kari Lloyd had some very harsh criticism for this team throughout the World Cup. And when she was saying it, there was a backlash against her from some of the coaches and some of the people running the team. And that's never a good sign, man. That's that Chicago White Sox stuff. When you start hearing the organization make excuses and, oh, why is the media bashing us? Because the media see what everybody see. That's why, Kari Lloyd has some very harsh comments about this particular team. So we are going to see what happens going forward with the USA women's soccer team. But for right now, we got to regroup because we are out of it. So thank you to the ladies who went out there to represent our country. We can't win them all. So let's regroup and get ready for the next tournaments. The World Cup for the women will be again in another 4 years, but there's a lot of matches that need to be played in between then. So we will see what the women's soccer organization in the United States can come up with for some solutions, and we will kind of go from there. So, all right, we are, man, time is really flying by when you're talking by yourself. We are now at the 7 o'clock hour. It is now time for our second commercial break here on What's Up Cuz. Once again, I do appreciate those of you who are tuning in on the YouTube channel, or if you're watching us on that Roku Sports Zone channel, or if you are tuning in via the app. I definitely appreciate you all tuning in and showing us love. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with more What's Up Cuz.
Compassion, noun. Sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. We're all born with it. It's in us. Don't believe me? When you hear a baby cry, something pulls at you. You want to ease that pain. You want to soothe that hurt. No one had to teach you that. It's called compassion, and it's in you. However, at some point you turned it off when it came to me. Me.
The cries of my soul have gone unheard, but today, you will hear me.
My heart has wailed a melody loud enough to shatter your ears and you ignored me. But this week, you will hear me.
This body has beat the drums of anguish, only to be silenced. But this month, you will hear me.
This year,
this decade,
this century,
I will be heard. And
you will be the one to hear me.
And when I am finally heard,
show compassion.
Show compassion.
Show compassion.
Remember, it's in you.
At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become the resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JCoyneReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My feature stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My missing person stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information on my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out JCoyneReports.com and follow me on Twitter at JCoyne.
See me. See me.
see me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair.
See me. Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet, split from centuries of walking your delicate line. See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, here on the Sports Zone Chicago Network, talking to you about things going on in the world of sports and just in our society in general. A lot of stuff, lots of stuff going on here. One story that I wanted to talk about, which broke about 5 days ago, WNBA star Skylar Diggins, and this situation is going on with her team, the Phoenix Mercury. So Skylar revealed that the Phoenix Mercury organization has locked her out of the team's facilities. She has been out after having her second child with her husband, Daniel Smith. Congratulations to them on their second child. She had her second child back in March, I believe. So she has been working to try to get herself back into playing shape so that she can return to the team. So it was startling to hear that the Phoenix Mercury organization is not allowing her in the facilities. Skylar has been working out at a local YMCA. She has been doing it without the team nutritionist. No massages. She's had to basically come out of pocket to do all this stuff to get herself back to playing. She is one of the fortunate WNBA players, but she makes more money off the court than she does as a WNBA player because she has so many commercial endorsements of products and things like that. She is signed with Rock Nation, Jay-Z's agency. And so Scott is fortunate that she's got some money, but she still shouldn't have to be coming out of pocket to do things when she's a member of the Phoenix Mercury. And on her Twitter feed, she said the organization basically let her know that the only ties they have to Skylar is when they send her paycheck every couple of weeks. Other than that, they don't really have a relationship with her. And I'm like, she's one of the biggest names in the sport. How can you treat the star of your team and one of the biggest names in your sport in this manner? So when you hear female athletes talking about all the challenges they face, it's real, man. It's real. And if it's happening to Skylar Diggins, I can only imagine what other players are having to put up with. Some of the other BS that they got to put up with. And one thing about the WNBA players is they don't have a problem taking their case public. Now that can be good and that can be not good because eventually, people will turn on you. Trust me, I know. They'll say, hey, they just complain about everything and they can get turned off by that. I think they have to have stronger negotiations between the WNBA Players Union and the league itself. I also think the league has to generate more revenue because that's what is causing all these problems with the travel, salaries, with the limited rosters. They're only allowed to have so many players on their rosters. I think it's like 11. It's not like with the NBA where they've got ample roster space. I think it's 15 in the NBA, plus you can have some other people on like your practice squad or whatever. But ladies don't have it that fortunate. They're not traveling on charter flights. And to play devil's advocate, I do understand some of those decisions because, they don't want to talk about it, but the reality is they're not packing arenas like the NBA is. So when you talk about this salary discrepancy, well, we're supposed to get the money from? They just gonna pull it out the sky. The NBA is already sustaining the WNBA to the tune of about $15 million a year that they use for operating costs. So I think at a certain point, the players also have to understand that the league has got to be able to generate more money. And while the league is generating more money now than they have in their history, they're still way away from where they need to be. Way away from where they need to be. The Sky, unfortunately, is that they tend to draw more fans than a lot of other teams do. But if you watch a WNBA game, they try to do little TV camera tricks where they don't show you how empty some of these arenas are. They packing everybody into the first rows because it makes for good TV. But I know the truth, and you know the truth too. They're not beating down doors to actually get into a lot of these WNBA arenas. So that said, I do think the league, and especially the ownership of some of these franchises, they need a course in public relations or something, because you don't want the public to know what you doing to Skylar Diggs, that you're mistreating her, because she's a very popular player. She's one of those players that even when she retires from basketball, I can see her doing well in modeling. I can see her doing well in product endorsements. I've interviewed her on a couple occasions. She's a very intelligent young sister. She's a very physically beautiful woman. Skylar's going to be okay. But, it's not just about Skylar. It's about all the other players in their league. And I think the WNBA has to do a lot better job of marketing their players, of taking care of their players, and putting their product out there in front of the public. I've said it before, I think one of the challenges of the WNBA is that they are playing during the summer, where when you have people in northern states like Chicago, Minnesota, when it get hot outside, we going outside to play. I'm just keeping it real with you. We're going outside to play. In Chicago, we have 2 Major League Baseball teams. People are going to go see that. So I think they have to be realistic about where they are and what they want to do with their league going forward, because the league is really struggling. They really are struggling. So we will see what they can come up with here. But they got to figure this out, because you can't be mistreating Skylar Diggins. It's not going to go well for you. All right. Going to take a quick commercial break, and then I'm going to go on a few more topics, a few more things that I want to talk about. I'm definitely going to get into this whole Tim Anderson thing, and we will just kind of go from there. So you are watching
You see me.
You hear me.
Respect me.
Respect. Due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others.
We don't have to agree,
but I deserve to be heard. I stand my ground. Respect me.
We don't have to be friends, but I deserve your civility. I stand my ground. Respect me.
You don't have to understand my culture, but I deserve to be authentically myself. I stand my ground. Respect me.
I stand in defiance of your need to make me less in order for you to feel adequate.
I stand.
I stand aware that the America that you see and love today is a result of my free labor.
I stand.
I stand knowing that the contempt you have for me was not instigated by me, but perpetuated by the fear you have of me. I stand.
I stand surviving your many attempts to emasculate me. Indeed, I thrive despite it.
I stand realizing that you take many things from me, but I will not allow you to take my respect.
I am a man.
I am a proud man.
I am a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputedly, unapologetically a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputedly, unapologetically a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputably, unapologetically a proud black man.
Respect me. I have done more than enough to deserve it, and still you withhold it.
The bill is past due.
You owe me.
Respect me. Respect me.
Respect me.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up, Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, talking about some topics going on here in the world of sports. And for this final segment, can I talk about this Tim Anderson situation? So, our good friend Maya Akai is also going to be on the show next week, and she's going to give us a little bit more of a background on this Tim Anderson situation. You know, Maya works in mental health field. She's a mental health counselor, and she noticed something that I noticed with Tim Anderson, and we've been noticing it now for a couple years. And I think it's important for people to keep in mind Tim Anderson's background, and then it will start to make sense, some of the stuff that we are seeing that are coming to light about him. And first off, I want to say what happened in Cleveland with him and Ramirez was that was more than just a baseball fight. Okay, that was something more. And if you only look at what led to them squaring off and throwing punches, and not everything that happened after the two of them were separated, then you're going to struggle to understand where I am coming from in this point. But Tim Anderson is out of control right now. He's out of control. He is got some anger issues. He has got some demons that he is dealing with. And White Sox organization is not going to come out and say it, but I know it because I've seen this before in brothers. We learned recently, or at least it finally came out to the public, that Tim had a relationship outside of his marriage that resulted in him fathering a young boy. He had to release a statement acknowledging what had happened. and he said he and his wife Bria, a very beautiful sister who I've met and spoken to a couple of times, they've announced that they are staying together and that they're going to try to work through this situation. Okay, but that's just one of the symbols of guys doing stuff they ain't got no business doing, getting themselves in trouble. You're a professional, man. You see the season Tim Anderson is having. You don't go from one of the top hitters in the league to just completely falling off the face of the earth like he has this season. And I said as he was going through it, I said, this dude got some stuff going on in his home life. We don't know about it because I remember when Frank Thomas, Hall of Famer Frank Thomas, had his worst season with the White Sox. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on with Frank? Well, we found out at the end of the season, Frank was going through a divorce. Okay, he went through a divorce. The wife took a lot of the money that he had earned at the time. And then once the divorce was final, he came back the next season and he was the old Frank Thomas again. We've seen this with a number of athletes when they're going through a divorce. A divorce is nasty. It's nasty for anybody. It doesn't regard if you're an entertainer, a professional athlete, a doctor, you work at Wired or whatever. Don't nobody want to get divorced. This is like one of the most stressful things you can ever go through in your life. So it's understandable that he's got that going on, but there's more to this going on in Tim's life. And Maya and I are going to really break that down next week when she comes on the show. But for now, I would just talk about the things that we definitely know about. A few years back, Tim Anderson's best friend, who we grew up with in Alabama, got murdered. Brother got murdered. This was maybe Tim's second year in the league. And once again, Tim was struggling. He was struggling. He struggled that second season. We were all like, well, is this just him struggling to learn major league pitching or, with the mental lapses? What's going on with this dude? And, we found out later his best friend had been murdered. Okay, that's a lot. But one thing about trauma is if you don't deal with it head on and you don't deal with it completely, if you just part way deal with it, it's going to come back and bite you. As any person who's been addict to gambling, it's a lifelong thing. It's an everyday thing. If you talk to a person who's been addicted to drugs or alcohol or sex or anything like that, it's an everyday choice you have to make to do the right thing because it's an illness and you have to approach it as an illness. Whatever Tim has got going on, to me, it seems like it's some sort of illness. And Maya agrees with me. She's going to come on next week and go into more details about it because I'm concerned not just about Tim Anderson, the baseball player. I'm concerned about Tim Anderson, the human being. I'm really concerned about Tim Anderson, the human being. I'm concerned about his physical welfare. I'm concerned about his mental welfare and his mental health. I don't want to hear us get a story where we're looking at something similar to the Ja Morant situation that's going on with the NBA player Ja Morant, hanging around the wrong crowd, flashing guns, hanging out late at night, places to be at. Basically being a menace to society instead of behaving like a person who's blessed to be in the upper 2% income in this country. And with that comes a lot of opportunities to do things. I'm really struggling to see what Simpson is doing on the field, as he was my favorite player on the White Sox. Right now, I just can't roll with him. He's doing stuff he has no business doing. He's doing stuff that is against my own personal values. And, I'm not saying that these professional athletes have to be perfect. I'm never saying that because we know they're imperfect. Never that. I'm not saying that. But when you humiliate and disrespect your wife and you humiliate and disrespect your daughters because they got to live with what daddy did too. They got to go to school. And we know how kids are. Kids ain't going to be politically correct. That's the benefit of being a kid. They can do and say something that adults can't because they're kids. I can only imagine what his daughters have had to have had to deal with their friends, because it's on the internet now. Everybody know what you did. You know, you humiliated your wife, you humiliated your daughters, who are going to internalize what you did to their mother. So I am concerned not just for Tim's well-being, but for Bria's well-being. I'm concerned for his daughter's well-being. I hope they are getting the support they need for what their husband and father did. Because this is some serious stuff we're talking about that's going on in our society. And it's going on in every community. It doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. There's a lot of family issues that we have going on in this country because people are not living up to their vows. And it is now being seen with Tim Anderson on the baseball field. And it is a reflection of what he has going on in his personal life. I can guarantee you that. And the White Sox are not going to come out and make a statement because, you know, they can't even be honest about Pedro Grifol being in over his head. They can't even be honest about, ooh, we really screwed this up with Rick Hahn, because they ain't firing nobody. So I'm not expecting them to take no responsibility of what Tim is doing. But if I were the White Sox, what I would do, because Tim has now been officially suspended by Major League Baseball for 6 games, and this is his penalty for the fight he got into with Ramirez of Cleveland. He has been suspended for 6 games. Not sure if he's going to appeal that right now. But he has been suspended for 6 games, man. That's 6 games you ain't making no money to take home to your family over something stupid. And he's lucky he only got 6 because of his actions after the fight. You know, trying to get back out there and re-engage. You know, other people are trying to be peacemakers. He's trying to re-engage. He's starting this stuff again. Someone could have gotten seriously hurt through all this. But, you know, he was the culprit. And I give Ramirez some of the blame too. But Tim kept taking this way past a baseball fight. You know, and he's got to get himself under control, man. He's got to, you know, I know so many brothers who are either dead or in prison because they could not control their emotions. They could not control their frustration, their angers. They did not channel it in the right way. Hell, I dealt with it as a young black man who grew up knowing his father but didn't really have a strong relationship with his dad. I know what that frustration is like, man. I've lost friends in Chicago to homicides. I've lost friends to medical emergencies. Just the stress of being a black man in America. I understand all of it, bro. I really do. But you've got to figure out a way to handle this, because the way it is manifesting and the way we are seeing, it is an embarrassment to you, Tim, and it is an embarrassment to your family. And frankly, it is an embarrassment to the black community, especially in Chicago, who have supported you throughout your career. And to hear what you did to your wife and children, to see what you're doing on the baseball field. And again, this didn't just start this year. Last year, he gave the fans in Cleveland middle finger. And some of my friends, you know, they were, you know, oh yeah, that's my shortstop, I support him. You know what I told them, man, I ain't rolling with that nonsense. The people in Cleveland were giving him the business because he made 3 errors in 1 inning. Yeah, you on the road. Of course they gonna talk stuff about you. You gonna flip them off. That's a lack of discipline. And based off of what Keenan Middleton said earlier that I talked to at the beginning of tonight's show, that there's no accountability within this White Sox organization, we are seeing it. My God, we are seeing it. And it is ugly. It is ugly. And so I would have been good if the White Sox had came out after this and said, you know what? We have decided to suspend Tim Anderson. We'll pay for the rest of the season. We are going to find out what is going on with him and assist him however he needs. And, you know, when he's ready to get back to baseball, we'll get back to baseball. Because we ain't winning. We ain't going nowhere this year. So, you know, what's the point on that? So if he's dealing with some sort of physical injury, let's deal with it and let him heal. If he's dealing with some sort of mental crisis, let's deal with that. If he's dealing with some stuff going on in the home, Let him deal with that with his wife. Whatever the situation is with Tim Anderson, we need to get this addressed because I want to see this young brother succeed. And right now, he's not able to succeed because of whatever he's got going on in his personal life. So that are my thoughts on this Tim Anderson situation. I am not happy about it. He needs to get himself together and get back to being that player that we all fell in love with a couple years ago. He needs to get back to being that devoted family guy. And if he and Bree are going to really work this out and stay together, then stay together. They are a young black couple, and that is why I'm not going to give up on them, and I want to support them. They are a young African-American couple trying to navigate marriage, trying to navigate being married to a superstar, and there have been some tragic mistakes made. And we need to support them, but Tim need to be the leader of his family. He need to be the leader of his household. He can't be the leader of the White Sox for a while. You know, we knew he was the leader of this team. He can't. If you can't lead your family, bro, you can't lead this team right now because you're not you. So I am really hoping that we get to whatever is going on with Tim Anderson and we can get it solved. And if he's still a member of the White Sox at the end of the season, you know, hopefully he comes back next year and he can have a much better year. But right now it is not happening, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. It'll be very interesting to see what this White Sox organization does with the Fan Fest. So they canceled it this past season. So that was our first sign that there was some BS going on in this organization. That was one of the first signs. It's been a million signs. But that was one of the signs we knew something wasn't right with this organization when they canceled the Fan Fest. So after this season, I know they don't want to do no fan festival because it's not going to be questions this time. It's going to be pitchforks and brooms burning. It's going to be calling for people's heads. Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn, and I'm dead serious, they're going to need security detail because White Sox fans are hot right now. And one thing I know about American society right now is that people are losing their damn mind. We are fighting at McDonald's. We're fighting on airplanes. We're fighting at the riverboat in Montgomery, Alabama, which is why I have the background that I have, Patty. That's why I got it. Armando explained it to you. But, you know, people ain't going to tolerate this, man. They paying too much money for these sporting events to see these teams not care. These millionaires, let me rephrase that, these mostly millionaires not care. It ain't going to go well if they do a Sox fans convention. I'm just telling you, I don't expect them to do it. But we shall see. We shall see. So that are my thoughts on the Tim Anderson situation. Once again, we will be keeping an eye on the Chicago Cubs as they try to make their run here to the playoffs. We'll continue to watch the sky as they make their run in the playoffs. And we've got Bears football preseason game coming up this week. Everyone get ready for the Bears. I know the Bears is what people in Chicago live for. Chicago sports. It's for the Bears. Whether they good or bad, that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to roll with. So, you know, you get ready to start that first preseason game, you can have a lot of optimism. A lot of optimism. And this year, Bears fans got reasons to be optimistic. You know, you've improved your offensive line. You're expecting Justin Fields to improve. He's got some better wide receivers, so he's got some more targets. You still got holes, but every team got holes. Especially in the beginning, you ain't gonna fill all them holes. We ain't putting an all-pro team out there. You do the best you can. But what I want to personally see is the development of the players that they already have in their system. Because I think that is the thing that has nipped this franchise in the butt for years, is how are you developing your players? Specifically, how are you developing your offensive players? Your defensive players seem to thrive, but your offense players, they seem to hit a plateau and then that's it. And we don't get nothing else out of them. So very interested to see what the Chicago Bears do this season. And we will talk about it on next week's show with our guest, Ken Davis from the Under the Center podcast, and our girl Maya Kai from Sean and Maya in the Morning. They will be our guests next week on What's Up, Cuz. Unfortunately, my cousin Lance could not make it tonight. He was trying to get in here. Said he was going to be late, but he has something he's dealing with personally in his family. It's a good thing. Nothing is wrong. But some opportunities are coming up for him and members of the Irvin family. So they needed to address that tonight. And so Lance could not make the show tonight. And once again, I give my condolences to our producer, Sean Sierra. He lost his aunt and godmother. He is currently at her services tonight. And once again, I would just like to send my condolences to my guy, Alvin Washington Jr., who passed away suddenly over the weekend. Vinny, you will be missed, brother. I want to thank you for everything you've done for me in my career. I want to thank you for everything you've done for people who've gone into the media business. And it was a pleasure coming across you and meeting you back in the day at Chicago State. But wow, I can't believe you're gone, brother. But we will carry on. And many of the lessons that you taught me, I'm continuing to admit here in this podcast. So I will miss you, but thank you for everything you have done. So once again, everybody, next week, Lance will be back. Hopefully he will have some good news to announce as he is taking care of some family business with some opportunities that are coming the family's way. So hopefully he will be able to tell us firsthand the results of the meetings he has been attending tonight, which is why he could not attend this show. But hey, I thank you for tuning in. The chair, it thanks you for tuning in. Shout out to my brothers and sisters in Montgomery, Alabama. Keep up the good fight. When y'all get a GoFundMe criminal defense fund, I will be donating to it because there's only so much you can take in this world. I ain't mad at him. And to the brother who swam across the river to go help, who they're now calling Aquaman and the Black Aquaman, all sort of stuff. Good job, young brother. Good job, young brother. We have to look out for one another and support one another because this country and this world is crazy as hell. And don't nobody deserve to be getting jumped 7-on-1. So I was so happy to see other people willing to step up and get involved and put their lives on the line to help this brother who was outnumbered. He was definitely outnumbered. But he sent up a bat signal and the community responded in kind. So thank you so much. So that's going to do it for tonight's episode of What's Up, Cuz. I am Jason Palmer. Once again, I will see you next week along with my cousin Lance Irvin and our guest Maya Kai and Ken Davis. Until then, everybody, peace out.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day, because march on till victory.